From President Trump today, word that White House counsel Don McGahn is leaving his post. He will step down this fall after an expected Senate vote to confirm Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Investigators with special counsel Robert Mueller have interviewed McGahn at length. The president today dismissed talk that he might have a problem with what McGahn told them.
Any concern about what he said to the Mueller team?
No, none at all. I knew he was going also, as you know. I had to approve it, so we didn't claim executive. No, I don't have to be aware. We do everything straight. We do everything by the book, and Don is an excellent guy.
The chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Republican Chuck Grassley, voiced concern about McGahn leaving. In a tweet aimed at the president, he said, "You can't let that happen." The president today hailed Tuesday's Republican primary winners. In Florida, GOP Congressman Ron DeSantis will face Democrat Andrew Gillum for governor. The Tallahassee mayor would be the state's first black chief executive. And in Arizona, Republican Congresswoman Martha McSally will run against Democratic Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema to replace retiring U.S. Senator Jeff Flake. We'll have a full report after the news summary. The Arizona candidates held off campaigning today as final tributes began for the late Senator John McCain. A military honor guard greeted the hearse that carried McCain's casket to the state capitol in Phoenix. Governor Doug Ducey was among those who spoke at a brief ceremony.
John McCain was about more than politics. He brought us above politics. John is probably the only politician who could get us to set aside politics and come together as a state and a nation, as we have.
Afterward, McCain's widow, Cindy, and their children spent private moments by the casket before the public was admitted to pay respects. The senator died Saturday of brain cancer. He would have been 82 today. A white former police officer in Texas could get 99 years in prison in the death of Jordan Edwards, a 15-year-old black youth. Roy Oliver was found guilty of murder yesterday by a mostly white jury in Dallas County. He claimed he fired into a car of black teens to protect his partner, but the partner testified he had not feared for his life. Oliver was fired within days of the shooting in 2017. The United Nations Human Rights Office accused Nicaragua's government today of a sweeping campaign against political protests. It described arrests, torture, and other efforts to silence dissidents. More than 300 have died in the violence since April. In Geneva, the UN human rights chief said it's time to intervene.
Repression and retaliation against demonstrators continue in Nicaragua as the world looks away. The violence and impunity of these past 4 months have exposed the fragility of the country's institutions and the rule of law and created a climate of fear and mistrust. And just the numbers of those leaving Nicaragua is testimony to that.
Nicaragua's government dismissed the report and denied the accusations of excessive force. More than 24 human rights groups are urging Google not to censor its internet searches in China. There have been reports that the tech giant plans to build a search engine compliant with Chinese government restrictions. In a joint letter, the human rights groups say that would be, quote, an alarming capitulation on human rights. Google denies that it is close to launching any such product. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 60 points to close at 26,124. The Nasdaq rose 79 points, and the S&P 500 added 16. And this was the second and final day of the late Aretha Franklin's public viewing in Detroit. Thousands have filed past the casket at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. The funeral for the legendary singer takes place tomorrow. Still to come on the NewsHour, takeaways from primaries in Arizona and Florida, and looking ahead to the general election. Waves of refugees flee Venezuela as the economic crisis worsens. Remembering Senator John McCain, and much more.